Welcome, friends, to Turtle WoW News with Vrograg. I'll be your anchor orc for today's broadcast as we cover the changelog coming out with the May 30th server reset and covering a few other events going on the server. My last broadcast was from Blackrock Spire and I escaped through the sewers, somehow ending up in Loch Modan. So, here I am standing on the dam because the view is great and it smells better. There is a lot of information to cover, so let's get to it. I'm the orc, and here's the news. Our top story today is regarding the animated trailer announced by Torta, which was a teaser for the upcoming 1.16.6 patch. Though it was little over 1 minute long, the animator, Evgeny Moiseev, sorry if I butchered that, shows some starting visions of what the lands beyond the Grey Mane Wall might be like. While nothing was spoiled in the trailer, I think we do see some kind of a female protagonist of sorts running through, presumably Gilneas, lockpicking her way around the city, running away from guards, and then finally jumping off the Grey Mane Wall and into a water feature by the end. We know precious little about this woman or what's going on, but we can see at one point the banner of Gilneas. We'll post a link to this incredible work if you're curious or just excited about 1.16.6. The hype train continues to grow, but for now, let's get into the changes affecting the server today. The most impactful change coming with the log this week will affect the census's least represented class on Turtle WoW, the Shaman. Elemental Devastation can now proc from Flame Tongue weapon. For those not in the know, this is a talent found in the 4th tier of the elemental specialization for shamans. For each of the 3 ranks, it will add 3% chance to get a melee critical following a spell critical. I went to the bug tracker to find this report, assuming it was a bug. Surely Flame Tongue weapon enchant, a spell effect, that in and of itself can crit when triggered, should always make elemental devastation active. Evidently, that has not been the case, and the Turtle WoW dev Raxorb said as much when replying to the bug. He offered that Flame Tongue doing so would not be Blizz-like. A little confused myself and not content to leave the matter alone, I dug deeper into the internet archive, and I found that this matter seemed to be a long-lasting annoyance for shamans. The earliest post from frustrated shamans I found on MMO Champion from 2008, during the era of TBC for retail WoW. Even then, shamans wanted it to work. I found Reddit posts wondering about the same thing from 4 years ago, asking about Classic. I found posts wondering about it from other older private server GitHub bug reporters, like Smolderforge and even Elysium. Some of those reports reference an ancient patch during TBC 2.0.12, where the language made it seem that all spell crits would proc elemental devastation, and thus should work as it was what the developers intended. Boy, what a trip that little rabbit hole was. Well, for current Turtle WoW, this may open up some fun new options for the self-proclaimed forgotten class during class changes. I asked my most knowledgeable shaman guildmate about the impact the change might have, and he offered it could open some theory crafting space for Spell Enhancement Shaman, which is a niche build of a shaman that uses equal parts spell and melee to unleash devastation upon their foes. Let us know how you feel about this admittedly minor tweak to the shaman. We'll continue to follow this closely and watch the story as it develops. From one of the great PvP classes and right back into PvP news, we have our next story. There were a whole host of minor tweaks and bugs recently discovered about PvP that are being rectified. The changelog mentions that Bloodring, the 2v2 arena-style battleground, will now reset Rogue's preparation. In normal arena-style fights, all ability cooldowns are reset, so all combatants can use their full class kit while fighting. Phobos programmer, who called Bloodring Blood Circle for some reason, noted that Preparation, which is a rogue ability that resets all other rogue cooldowns, itself was not being reset. Now rogues can go back to infinite stun locking people in the arenas the way the developers originally intended. In addition to Preparation being given back to rogues for Bloodring, the ability for resurrections in Bloodring had some adjustments. noted by GitHub user GeoJack, a Shaman Ankh and a Warlock Soulstone were not working, but the Battle Resurrection of Druids and just the plain old Resurrection spell from a Priest was working. They called for either all of them to work or none. The changelog states that Resurrection spells can no longer be cast. That would seem to indicate that Druids and Priests won't be able to get their teammate back up during their fight. How a Priest would find 10 whole seconds solo in an arena match, I'm not sure, but hopefully this makes Blood Ring more attractive to arena enjoyers. Pulling out and away from Battlegrounds and back to World PvP, a bug was reported by Blankets that the local defense and world defense chat channels could be seen and used by enemies of the faction. Local defense chats are region-specific and are normally a way for factions to organize their defense against enemy players in those localities. World defense is much the same, just on a larger scale. The changelog doesn't seem to indicate that they will be invisible, just only incomprehensible to the opposite faction. Does this mean that the common human tongue and the main language of the Horde, Orcish, will be split once again for these channels? Or is this Reporter Orc just looking too deeply into it? Make sure to activate your defense chats and see for yourself how it all shakes out. Let's quickly go into lightning news flash mode and touch upon some of the minor but noteworthy changes also included in this changelog. The legendary staff of Atiash's aura will now stack with Moonkin's spell crit aura, offering casters a nice extra bit of crit to pull threat and die in raids. Saltjaw basilisks in Gilneas Isle will stop dropping items that normally basilisks in blasted lands are supposed to drop. This is admittedly a pretty minor change, but it should be noted that both casters and healers try to farm this substance from basilisks in order to get blasted land buffs that enhance the intellect or spirit of the person using them. Hopefully this was just a small oversight and they can get back to killing basilisks in blasted lands, and I really hate saying basilisk brains in blasted lands. The blacksmithing crafted level 11 item called Ironforge Change, a custom added item, was noted because it was a green item that could not be disenchanted. In the bug report, it was noted that there are other custom items that are likewise not able to be disenchanted. Make sure to keep an eye out for any of these other custom items that you might come across, because only together can we make disenchanting profitable again. Wow, actually the changelog was pretty light this time around. Most other changes were very minor, either grammatical or simple small glitches like monsters spawning under the world. With the changelog covered, now let's go take a look at Market Watch. This week I have a record 3 weeks of data to share with everyone to better understand the market on Turtle WoW. As always, thank you to superduperauctions.com for all their data. There were some server outages here and outages on Super Duper Auction, but we're going to make the best we can with the data we have. If you see a 0 price point, that's just a gap in the data. Much of the market staples have been trending down, including Black Lotus, finding a new level price around 18 gold, down from 1870-ish a few weeks ago. Likewise, Cured Rugged Hide stocks are down around 8% from 2 weeks ago, though last weekend there was a bit of a rally that seemed to mellow the market recently. The stocks that seem to be trading evenly over the 3 weeks are Grom's Blood and Large Brilliant Shards. These two seem to have more predictable price cycles with less volatility, so if you're a conservative investor, look at these two for safe bets. Arcane Crystals seems to be steadily on the rise for stock price. Some recent volatility this last week led to an uptrend, so keep an eye out, all you venture capitalists. There might be a new batch of Thunder Fury hopefuls looking to buy stock. The big Market Watch story this last week has been the big boom around Mooncloth. Just look at that growth. 3 weeks ago, it averaged around 24 gold, and now is hard to find for less than 26. Developers mentioned some changes coming to the Mooncloth set, as seen here in this screenshot off of a Discord conversation with the itemization team. Though the changes for the Mooncloth crafted set are not in the game, that hasn't stopped warehouses from selling at ever-increasing prices. We'll make sure to inform people when those changes to the Mooncloth sets come, if they do at all, just in case this all ends up being a bubble. Alright, that's all for now on Market Watch. Let's go back to Vrograg on the dam. Thank you, Market Watch, and thank you, dear viewers, for joining me for this edition of Turtle WoW News with Vrograg. There is no additional special program today, though I will spoil that I got a formal invitation to speak with some of the RPGMs to discuss all things roleplay on the server, and I'll try to get that segment out to you soon. I was so happy that so many people tuned in to watch the big hardcore announcement over the weekend. We got over 3,000 views on that video. I am truly humbled. Big thanks to the community manager Akalix for working with the network to make that announcement in tandem with the actual announcement on the Discord. I appreciate the extra exposure. If you enjoyed the content, please subscribe to the channel for more Turtle WoW news, and share it with anyone who might be interested in a stupid orc pretending to be a TV journalist. If you want to reach out for suggestions or hot news tips, my mailbox is currently empty, and I usually respond to comments down below. I hope to see you all again, dear viewers. I'm going to do a sweet jump off this dam like James Bond. Who knows where I'll wash up next? I wish you all well until we next meet, and as always, remember, knowledge is the deadliest weapon.